This is Dim Simple Media, and we are here across the street from Meta's, one of the Meta's corporate offices in Los Angeles on Jefferson Boulevard. And today we will talk about Facebook, Meta, Mark Zuckerberg, and freedom of speech. Unfortunately, today Facebook is using very restrictive so-called community guidelines to ban free speech under the label of hate speech. Basically, the community guidelines dictate that you can't offend anyone, and Facebook has no due process for those suspected violators who allegedly offended or used some demeaning language against various groups of people or individuals. Essentially, if you're a company that is in a media company and you want to promote your ideas to Facebook users, Facebook has no due process for you if you are accused of violating its community guidelines by using all kinds of hate speech, so-called hate speech against different groups of people that they consider protected categories. They listed all these protected categories, and you can't defame them, so to speak. You can't use demeaning language to talk about them. You can't criticize them. You have to be nice to them. It's this naive idea. I believe that Mark Zuckerberg, out of all people, is not a naive person, and yet he and his associates, of course, they have this arrogant and naive idea that they can apply their own moral standards to the general population, and by forcing us to be silent about things that we don't like, somehow we will start behaving according to their moral standards. Just imagine the degree of arrogance that Mark Zuckerberg has and his associates have to use the community guidelines and in their Facebook operation to essentially tame us, train us, be like our virtual parents, telling us what is good and what is bad and how to behave online. They're telling us how to behave online. And they took upon themselves this mission of being superior, morally superior individuals, morally superior group of people that have the right to dictate to all of us how to behave online. Imagine the arrogance of this. Now, of course, they could say, look, this is my business. I can do whatever I want with it. I can set whatever rules I want inside of my operation, inside of my business, and if you don't like it, you should get out of it. And that's the narrative that they're using when they're fighting all these antitrust lawsuits, etc. They're saying that, you know, this is our private company, and whatever free speech arguments our opponents are making, saying that we are imposing censorship, all these free speech arguments can only apply to government. They cannot apply to a private entity like Meta or like Facebook. And in one sense, they are correct, because our Constitution meant to apply protections of freedom of speech only to government entity. And if you are a small grocery store or, I don't know, doctor's office or law office, and you got some rude customers, that come and they violate your rules, and let's say they come and make a scene, a scandal, a noise. They come to your office and there's people sitting in the lobby, and they start cursing your secretary, they start insulting you, defaming you. Then you have a right to tell them, get out of here, you're trespassing right now, we don't want you here, you're trespassing, is private property, and you're violating our rules of behavior. This applies to most of the businesses, and it's protection of private property and protection of the rules that private owners establish within their private property. But when you look at companies like Facebook, you can't apply the same standard to them as you apply to a small shop, like a small shop or small office, because they are a monopoly. Essentially, they hold the monopoly over our speech, over what we can say and over what we cannot say online. They trampled upon their competitors, destroyed their competitors to the point that they took over most of the market. And the unique feature of Facebook is that they possess so much private information about its customers, its users, that no one else possesses. No other online company possesses as much private information. And they possess all this information to give it to the advertisers and to use it however they please, even though they pretend that they protect privacy. And so they are in a unique position where they possess enormous amount of private information, very special information about people, that they can use to Meta's advantage, and they can sell it to the advertisers, and they can use it to control people. Now we're getting into a very important area of AI, and Mark Zuckerberg is trying to get into AI and build all these AI centers. And so imagine how much control he and his associates will get if they are in control of AI. And basically you have to look at how they behave in the small playground, which is called Facebook, compared to AI. If they imposed strict community guidelines on our online behavior on Facebook, then imagine how they'll be able to control our behavior in the real world using AI.